All right, my friends, Brian with VetteSource, back again in teardown mode today, where we're going to take care of a task that I haven't been able to show you guys yet, which is the teardown of or removal for a C5 or C4. God, I'm all over the place today. C4 rear suspension. I've detailed the actual rear suspension once it's out a few videos back. I'll put a link up there for that if you haven't seen it. But this is the first time I've actually showed you guys how to remove this from the car. So as you can see, if you're familiar with the other video, of course, there is your outboard side. Of course, the Corvette has utilized an independent rear suspension a la Jaguar ever since 1963, and this is actually the setup right here. These are all your major and minor components. Of course, rear leaf spring, monoleaf, fiberglass. These are your tie rod ends. This is your differential cover right here, half shaft, camber rod. There's your spindle out there with the brake rotor and wheel hub assembly, and of course our sway bar here. So, and the shocks, obviously, there in the corner. This one's gonna be pretty easy. I'm gonna show you. This is pretty lickety split. Starting from the back to the front, we've got a couple sway bar bolts we need to pull out. We've got the one main mount bolt that holds this thing in place, and there are 3 actual bolts that hold that dog leg bracket to the inner or the rear structure there, and that's it. The whole thing drops out in one piece from there. So I'm going to be taking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 per side, bolts per side, and we're going to release the shocks as well, which are those other 2 bolts. So 8 bolts per side. We're going to have this thing out. So let's go ahead and get started. Make sure my camera is still working. So I'm just going to go, like I'd mentioned, back to front. We're going to start out, of course, and I got the wrong size, 13 millimeter. Bear with me. I need to go over and get my deep socket. Hold on just a second, guys. Okay. Good thing for us, 13.5 are the same, so we can make this work. So what we're gonna do, take these out. Now, in ordinary fashion, there's a lot more still attached in here that I've already removed. The spare tire tub would be right here. The straps for the gas tanks are, where are they? Oh, gas tanks already removed. Those would be right here. They're actually attached to this rear sway bar mount. So there's a lot more that's here, but I have it removed already for our purpose and our ease of operation, if you will. Just gonna get these out of here. Now you'll find when you go to remove yours that there'll be another 13 millimeter on top here with the gas tank strap there first, and then this extra one that I'm taking out right now. Okay. Now this rear suspension is substantially lighter than the C3 rear suspension, which is all metal, all steel. I've kind of detailed those before in the past as well. If you haven't seen those videos, I'm gonna get my phone out of the way before I break it. All right, so we're gonna go over here and do this other side. And we'll pull that one out. Our handy dandy little Craftsman. And then what you'll see, let's see if it'll allow me to do this. There's 1. There's 2. And the sway bar just drops right down. So there's your big piece right there. Okay, so we got those out. Let's set these to the side because I am pulling this out for a customer. I'm going to go from there. So what I'm going to do is reposition in the front here, so you guys can get a better look of what I'm doing. You know what though I may do? Let's see. No, I'll just reposition this. So stand by, I'll be right back. All right, so we're here a little bit closer where we can actually see and visualize these last 6 bolts that I'm talking about. There's actually 13 and a 13 here, and then that's an 18 or a 19. I think that's a 19. 18, but you can use a 19. And of course there's also this main mount bolt here. This actually holds the entire rear third member into place. Now the snout of the differential, the front snout, is connected to a C-beam which connects to the transmission, but I already have it out on this car, so we don't have to go through that process. But I'm gonna show you real quick. We'll remove these, or this one, these 2, and then this 3 right here, these 3 right here, this 3, listen to me. So I'm grammatically challenged today as always. We're gonna go ahead and get this out of here, get this in the right spot. If we can, there we go. I thought I had it. Again, problems inherent not having a sufficient mount there. There's one. Two. Okay. Again, we're saving our hardware for the customer. Where is mine? Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's move a little bit over here so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So these are just 3 bulkhead bolts here that tie this into the assembly. And I may have messed up because I should have taken this out first. Let's see here. There we go. Oh yeah, okay, I already loosened these up. That's why this is easier. It's actually pretty neat how simple they made this rear suspension on these. The C5s are actually even easier than this. Got a video of that, tearing the differential apart. I'll link that one if you guys haven't seen that one before either. But nothing too... Actually, what you want to do is take that top one out first. It just keeps you from getting at a weird angle that you can't get to. Now the C5 rear suspension is actually as easy as this is. It's 10 times easier than this one. I will give this to the engineers. It is a figured out a way, or GM in general, right? Figured out a way to basically design everything as an individual component section with ease to get them in and out. They did a good job with some of that. Now some of it still is rather perplexing, but they did what they had to do, you know? And again, I'm simply doing this by hand so you guys can see the method I'm using. And then once this one comes out, this entire bracket here is going to come loose from that inner structure of the unibody. There we go. Okay. That one's out. All right, now, last one here on this side, of course, it's going to be this one here. And I'm simply going to see if I can keep this in place while I do this. Now this bolt requires a little bit of persuasion to come out of there, simply because it's got all the tension on it from being in place. But it will come out. Okay, all right. And of course, these are still the old standard, just phosphate steel bolts. And sometimes this will remove for you. Let's see if this will actually come out. Oh, it might. Oh man, amazing. Let's reach over here and see if we can get this one to come out without having to put too much effort into it. This would be really fun if it would come right out of there. Oh my God, no way. Look at that. Almost. And what we can do, that almost came out on its own, which was quite impressive. This is usually where it gets stuck right here. So you have to use a jack to kind of manipulate it to get that out, but we'll save that for later. Let me go ahead, I'm gonna complete the other side. I'll do that off camera, simply you've seen this side already. I'll be right back. All right, so we're back here. We're gonna see if we can get this last bolt out of here. Oh, look, of course, it came right out as I'm talking about it. These don't normally come out this easy, so I'm actually quite pleased with that. So let's move around the back here. Hang on, I gotta do one more thing. No, actually I don't. Okay, it's actually ready to drop. So, even easier than I was thinking. Okay. Excuse me. So, hang on, let's go around the back here. And we will move ourselves around there so you guys can see this thing fall under its own weight. Let's see what it does. Okay. Let's reposition our camera so you can see as I use the jack. I'm gonna let this down. There we go. And it just falls right out of there. Now, I do need to disconnect the brake cables, parking brake cables. But that's a pretty simple operation. And that's it, guys. What are we jammed up against? Probably just right there, because it's sitting on the ground. It's almost sitting on the ground, but it's out. So that's what we wanted to accomplish. So what I'm going to do is, oh, I see, I got to use a pry bar over there. So we're going to finish getting this out and I'll show you the finished product, but you can see this a lot better. This is the way to take this out without having to dismantle it. Now, if you're just changing differential and spring and tie rod, it's probably better just to go ahead and take those individual components. But if you need to get the entire rear suspension out to service it, it's just as easy to take this out and drop it like this and then put it back in there again. This piece, like I said, weighs about 225 pounds. So let me use the final pry bar push on this thing to get it positioned where I need it to be, and I'll show you guys what it looks like while it's completely on the ground. I'll be right back. Okay, all right, now we've got that out of the way. So let's see if we can pick this up a little bit and drag back, kind of at a bad angle between these two cars, but let's get this thing out of the dirt here. Back onto this piece of plywood. May work, it may not. There we go. Alright. Trying to one-hand this, but it doesn't work that well when it's a little heavier. And, okay. Alright, so that's about all I'm going to be able to show you on camera. See, because I'm gonna have to use both my hands. So you can see, relatively easy, not that bad to get out of here. Of course, it doesn't help that there's a blowtorch over my head right now. We've got like 105 today, plus that, I don't know, that imaginary number they come up with, the heat index or whatever the heck it's supposed to be, but it's hot, it's no big deal. At least I'm in the shade. So I think I'm gonna wrap this up today, guys. This is about all I can show you. Again, you can see it really was kind of a low stress operation. I do like the way these are all put together in one piece and accessible. And I think this is actually the last of the Corvette suspensions. It actually has a pretty cool look to it. I don't mind the C5s and a buzz, but they're much more utilitarian and homogenized with that looking like a front wheel drive cross member to hold it in place. This is actually kind of a unique setup still. This is why it's still the popular choice for hot rodders. In fact, this guy, I think, is going to put this in a truck. So anyway, it's going to wrap it up for today's video. I'll catch up with you guys soon, and we'll go from there. Talk to you then. Thanks, guys.